Move it, old man. Some of us have jobs. He didn't reply, just wiped down the mirror and opened the bus door. Same boots, same silence. Every single day. But that morning was different. A SEAL recruit stepped aboard and froze mid-step. Just visible beneath the driver's weathered, sun-worn skin was a tattoo. The unmistakable SEAL trident. The recruit snapped to attention. The driver simply muttered, "Clock's ticking, sailor." Silence fell over the entire bus. If you believe true legends don't need introductions, share your thoughts below. Bus 12 arrives at exactly 5:45 a.m. every morning, rain, snow or shine. The driver is in his mid-70s, face weathered, eyes stormy and distant. His routine is exact. Check the mirrors, inspect the gauges, open the door, close the door, drive. No greetings. No idle chatter. Just the precise rhythm of a man who treats driving like a mission. His name tag says Thomas, though no one calls him that. To the other drivers, he's old-timer or boots, a nod to the heavy military-style footwear he wears instead of the standard issue. His faded navy jacket bears no insignia, yet it hangs on him with quiet authority. They haven't forced him to retire yet? Davis, a younger driver, asks, one morning as Thomas inspects his bus like he's prepping for combat. Probably can't even see over the wheel anymore. Thomas's left sleeve is always rolled just below the elbow, low enough to be within regulations but high enough to keep his forearm cool. Or maybe for some other reason entirely. He's like a machine, Davis continues. Same route, same face. Probably dreams in bus schedules. What the depot manager knows, but rarely says, is that Thomas has never missed a shift. Not once in 12 years. Not during the blizzard of 18, not during the downtown flood. Not even when half the fleet called out during the strike. That morning, Route 12 passes through the Naval District. A young recruit dressed sharp in his uniform boards. His posture is perfect. His haircut still smells of talcum powder. Good morning, sir, he says automatically, trained courtesy in every word. Thomas glances at the rearview mirror, then back to the road. No reply. The recruit takes a seat near the front, watching the driver closely, how his eyes constantly scan. The mirrors, how every gear shift is efficient, every movement exact. Before each turn, his body shifts slightly, like instinct. At Market Street, an elderly woman boards with heavy grocery bags. One rips open, apples rolling down the steps. Without a word, Thomas sets the brake, powers down the door, and kneels to gather them. His motions are steady and purposeful. He nods at her whispered thanks, returns to his seat and drives on. The recruit squints slightly. Something doesn't add up. This man doesn't fit the mold of a typical bus driver. As the morning goes on and more passengers climb aboard, most barely notice Thomas. They're glued to their phones, dozing off, or staring blankly out the window. They see the gray hair, the worn hands gripping the wheel, but they don't really see him. The recruit does. He takes in every detail. The thick calluses on Thomas's hands. The way he subtly evaluates each new passenger as they board. The posture, rigid and upright, unfaltering even hours into the shift. When the bus finally pulls up to the base, the recruit pauses before stepping off. Thank you for the ride, sir. Thomas glances at him for a brief moment. Then his eyes return to the road. The next day dawns bright and clear. The recruit boards again, choosing the same seat near the front. This time he positions himself so the sunlight from the window falls directly across the driver's arm as he takes a turn. For just a second, the light hits perfectly. Faded with time, partially masked by sun-worn skin, is a tattoo. The trident, anchor and eagle. The SEAL insignia. The recruit's breath catches. He waits until the next stop when the front of the bus empties out. Then he leans forward, voice low. Sir, were you in? The question lingers in the space between them. The engine hums. A red light turns green. Then, without looking over, Thomas answers. I was. 2 words. That's it. But the recruit leans back, understanding the weight they carry. They ride in silence the rest of the way, but now the quiet feels different. Not the silence of strangers, but the wordless connection between men who've shared something few can understand. Brothers separated by time, not experience. By that afternoon, the story is already moving. Word spreads fast in military circles. Group chats light up. Barracks whisper, the old guy on bus 12? Former frogman. You sure? Harper saw the trident. Said the driver confirmed. It. Soon a post hits the Navy subreddit. There's a legend driving bus 12 in Coronado. Recognize the ink. Anyone know his story? Retired Chief Petty Officer Marcus Denton scrolls past the post, then stops. Something about it stirs an old memory. A name from long ago. One passed in whispers during deployments. Retired Chief Petty Officer Marcus Denton places a call to an old teammate, now stationed at the Pentagon. That weekend something unusual happens. Bus 12, usually half empty in the early hours, pulls up to the base to find 8 recruits waiting in perfect formation. They board in silence, each offering a respectful nod. One nearly salutes before catching himself. Thomas's face remains unchanged, but he studies each of their faces just a moment longer than usual. By Monday, Lieutenant Colonel James Westfield, Naval Intelligence Officer and SEAL historian, boards Bus 12 in full dress uniform. The handful of recruits already aboard rise as he passes. He walks to the front and stands beside Thomas. As the door closes, he speaks clearly into the quiet bus. "Sir, permission to ride?" Thomas exhales slowly. His eyes meet Westfield's for the first time. "You got a seat, Colonel." Westfield settles into the seat behind him. After a pause, he leans forward and speaks low. "I reviewed the records. Commander Griggs. SEAL, Team 2. 3 tours. Bronze Star with Valor. Twice listed MIA, twice returned. Mission accomplished both times despite injury." Thomas's knuckles tighten slightly on the steering wheel. "That man retired a long time ago, Colonel." "With respect, sir," Westfield replies, "you know it doesn't work like that." Later that day, Westfield confirms the rumors. The quiet driver of Bus 12 is indeed former Commander Thomas Griggs, once one of the most revered SEAL team, leaders in Vietnam. His missions? Still mostly classified. His reputation? Untouchable. His decision to drive a city bus? Unexplained but unquestioned. By Wednesday, Thomas's first stop includes 15 recruits standing silently as the bus pulls up. Each boards quietly, nodding in acknowledgement. No one speaks. Thomas drives the same as always, precise, focused, silent. But when they reach the training facility, he glances in the rear view and locks eyes with the original recruit. "Harper," he says, name cutting through the quiet. "Keep your situational awareness up during night drills. That's where most recruits slip." Harper blinks, stunned, both at being remembered and at receiving advice. "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." Thomas looks forward again. His sleeve, as always, is rolled to just below the elbow, not to hide the tattoo anymore, but not to showcase it either. Some truths don't need to be declared. They simply are. If you'd stand for the quiet heroes among us, leave a word of respect below. The story spreads like a current, unseen but powerful. Within 2 weeks, every military member in the area knows the silent man behind the wheel of Bus 12 once led Black Ops missions still covered in redactions. A local journalist, tipped off by a retired sailor, tries to catch him after a shift. "Commander Griggs, we'd love to feature your story, your service, your work now." "No interviews," Thomas cuts in, still inspecting the bus. "It's just Thomas now." The reporter persists. "Sir, your story could inspire young sailors." Thomas finally straightens and meets the reporter's eyes. "They need to focus on their stories, not mine." That only fuels curiosity. Military journals inquire. Silence. National outlets send requests. Ignored. At the transit center, the director notices the surge in military passengers. After confirming Thomas's identity through public records, he has a small bronze plaque placed near the driver's bulletin board. In honor of Commander Thomas Griggs, whose silence taught more than words ever could. Thomas says nothing when he sees it, but passengers notice. He stands taller, if that's even possible. His bus becomes something like a moving sanctuary. Recruits and officers treat it with quiet reverence. They speak in hushed tones. They clean up after careless civilians. They protect the space. One morning, a loud teenager boards, blaring music, complaining loudly. "Yo, Grandpa, can this thing go any faster? Some of us got places to be." Before Thomas can say a word, Harper, now deep into his training, turns from his seat. His voice is low but unshakable. "Watch your tone," he says. "That man bled so you could speak freely." An HOA, or Homeowners Association, is an organization in a residential community, such as a subdivision, condominium complex, or planned neighborhood, that manages and enforces rules for the properties and residents. Homeowners automatically become members and must pay fees to support services like landscaping, maintenance of shared spaces, and community amenities. The HOA also sets regulations to maintain property values, such as restrictions on home appearance or noise levels.